I'm back on YouTube. Hello, welcome. If you've never watched it before, in December, I tried to do a full month of YouTube, failed miserably. So I wanted to learn about YouTube. I wanted to learn about posting this longer form content. I've always been a big fan of longer form stuff. I used to write blogs a lot. I was actually one of the main blog writers for My Proteins website, plenty of other websites as well, my own website. I write emails. I just think daily content, quick clickbait stuff just has very little value, and I think it's bad for our attention. So I've always been drawn towards this slightly longer form content, and YouTube was a goal. I knew nothing about it. I plunged myself in. I tried to do it every day. Realised it gets pretty boring for people watching. But also, I did it in December. Like, I've got 2 kids. I had a lot going on in December. I probably should have picked another month. Not a prize move. But we did learn a lot. I learned a lot about filming, content, audio, and yeah, hopefully lessons been learned in December that we can bring forward now and try and produce more consistently and speak about things in a little bit more depth, because I don't have to cut to 90 seconds or 3 minutes or whatever Instagram is these days. So we're back for 2026 and we've got more challenges. If you've been following me a while, you know I do lots and lots of challenges. I did the Ironman last year. I've done a couple of 100k ultra marathons. I've done 50k ultra marathon. I've ran lots of marathons. I've rode a marathon. I've done a ski erg marathon, which we'll come back to. I've deadlifted 500 pounds, 227.5 kilos, loads of stuff. Competed in jiu-jitsu, MMA, rugby. I love a challenge. I think it's very healthy for people to have a focus and aim towards it. And I think the reason I've had such longevity in fitness and in coaching is that I'm not just focusing on one thing, and I'm not all send at one at a time. I've got quite a varied role and a varied outlook on fitness, which has helped me with my coaching massively. So this year, 2026, I decided after the Ironman last year that I wasn't going to do another full one. I wanted to, but it's not really fair on my family. I'm busy. The Ironman took a lot. The Ironman, I was up at 4 in the morning a lot of times, sat on a turbo trainer for 4 or 5 hours. One morning I got up at 4, cycled to Stoke. I'm from Manchester, well, just north of Manchester, so if you don't know how far that is, it's a long way. And Stoke's not a great destination. Cycled to Stoke and back, then ran for an hour after it. It's just a huge toll Ironman training, especially going from where I was at with no real triathlon experience to doing the full thing. At Leeds as well, Leeds was one of the toughest courses, and it was brutal, I won't lie. I had lots of mechanical issues on the bike, punctures, just everything that could have gone wrong on the day did go wrong, to the point where I was just glad it was over and finished. But I finished it within the time, I had a bit of time to spare. Very happy to achieve the goal, but there is still an itch that needs to be scratched in that world. However, this year, I decided I'm going to do a half again. So last year I did the Lakesman, which is a 70.3, which is half the distance of a full Ironman. 70.3 is the total distance in miles. So you've got a 1.9k swim, a 90k bike, and a half marathon after that. So we're going to do that. That's in Keswick in June, and I've got time to beat. So last year, that was my first long distance triathlon. Well, mid distance it's called for that distance. So yeah, I want to beat my time. I'm not going to be thinking a few other things that I wanted to beat. So, the ski erg marathon. I did a ski erg marathon 9 years ago, and it was a challenge. I'd done a row marathon for charity, raised a load of money, did 3 hours 10, 3 hours 15, something like that. On it, I did it in front of the gym. I was chatting to people. It was quite busy, and it was actually okay once you get used to the numb backside and the just repetitive nature of sitting up and down that slide over and over. So after I had a big stint in strength, I went to the ski erg marathon. I trained for 1 month, took on a ski erg marathon. Now this was back in the day when ski ergs weren't in every gym. Like, no one knew what a ski erg was. Again, I was ahead of my time. But now obviously since Hyrox, everyone knows what a ski erg is. They're everywhere. So I did 42,195 meters in 3 hours and 33 minutes. And I had the British record because I was the first person to do it. So I had a default record, which is still cool. Still cool to be the first. But after that, obviously, I didn't spend much time on the ski erg. I came off it and I was like, I'm not doing that again. And I don't think I've probably done consistent training on the ski erg ever since. I used it a bit for conditioning, but nothing for distance until now. 2026 is the year I'm going to revisit a few things. And I'm going to push on and try and beat 9 years later. the time I set. So I'm 42 now. You know, a lot of people watching this, you're like, 42 is well old. And it is. I am old. But I'm not giving up. The old saying of what you don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving. I'm going to try and live by it. I'm going to try and keep doing these challenges as long as I can and keep getting better and better and better. Because you're only limited, really, aren't you, by yourself and what the story you tell yourself. So the Ski Marathon, I'm going to attempt to beat my old time. That's the goal. I'm going to try and do it in April. And then obviously we've got Lakesman in June, where I'm going to try and beat my time on that. And I want to beat my time in all three disciplines. So I don't just want to beat my time overall. I don't want to lose any time on anything. So I want to beat my swim time, I want to beat my cycle time, and I want to beat my half marathon time. So it's 3 separate goals. And then there's another. I had a little joke over near Christmas. So my fiance, who will be my wife in 2027, we just booked a wedding. Thank you very much for the congratulations. Her brother is running Chester Marathon. He's a very good runner. He's running a Chester Marathon in October. So while we're around, I was like, I might do that. We're around at their house and I was talking about going over and watching. I was like, well, if I'm travelling over in a day anyway, I might run it. Chester Marathon was the first marathon I ever ran. It was the goal at the time. I wasn't a runner. People think I've been a runner all my life. When I came out of the military, I'd never ran. I stopped running totally. I didn't run for 4 years, something like that. Did not run. And when I say didn't run, I didn't do 100 meters. I just did not run. I hated it through the forces. It was never something I enjoyed. Obviously, I did it for sport, but did it for PT and things like that. But it was never something I enjoyed or particularly excelled at. Then I was like, I've rode a marathon. I've skied a marathon. If I never run one, I regret it. So I was like, right, let's do it. Let's tick the box. So Chester was the one I bought. I decided in February I was going to run one. Bought some running trainers in October, completed my first marathon. Suffered a lot. I was injured. I've had pictures. I had like tape basically just holding my knee together for it because I battered myself to get there. But I did it, and yeah, I'm going to do it again. Jess decided to treat me for my birthday to place in the Chester Marathon. So I'm going back to 3 different events this year, and we'll see how we go. The goal is to beat all my times. So at 42 years old, I want to beat everything I've done before, which will be a huge monumental effort. And then we'll see where the year takes us. So I'm going to track them all. It's a little bit easier to track everything now. When I did the Ironman, I was like, I'm going to do a series, I'm going to film everything. But with the sheer volume of training, I'm not going to lie, I couldn't be bothered. I could not be bothered sitting and editing and filming. And I'd been filming myself for 4 hours on a bike, not moving anywhere. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. I'm sure if you've got a videographer to make it look all cool. I can't swim in the pool. I can't film in the pool that's swimming. So there was no content there. So I was like, right, let's not do the content. Let's do little bits. But with this stuff, I can track it all. So if you do follow me on socials, you will be seeing a lot. Ski Erg Marathon will be first, then the Lakesman 70.3, and then the Chester Marathon. All just to prove something to myself that I'm not as old as my birthday will suggest. And if that brings you some sort of inspiration, happy days. If it doesn't, happy days. It'll get me through. And yeah, anything's possible no matter how old you get. And if I can still do these challenges when I'm 90, I will do. Just seems quite fitting that I'm doing 2 marathons when I'm 42, with it being 42k. So yeah, stay tuned.